That's not a comic book. Now that's a comic book.
Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Trade Talk. This week we have the Manhattan Project's Volume 1, Science Bad. This is written by Jonathan Hickman, and this is a story that I've been hearing about from time to time. I think Hickman's a pretty good writer, even though I've not read a ton of his stuff. So I was curious what he was going to be doing in here. I know he really likes sci-fi and whatnot, and so the notion of the title alone definitely interests me because I we do History Month on Geeky Gentleman every year. I think about history and in particular the Manhattan Project quite a bit. So I was really curious with what this was going to be. I kind of hate this book. And it's not that I think it's bad. I really don't. I think for what it's trying to do, it does a fine job of it. I hate the concept. So what's the concept? The Manhattan Project, for those that don't know, and shame on you for not knowing, was the project that built the first nuclear bomb. Kind of the most significant aspect in human history. The bomb is the most mind-blowing, scary achievement ever. To quote Oppenheimer, "I am become death, destroyer of worlds." The power of God in the human hand. It's freaky shit. So, what's the book about? Well, this general character says, "At first this will seem excessive, but our security guidelines and containment protocols have been designed to the highest standards for a very good reason. We're protecting the country's greatest secrets. The problems with these secrets is many of them are wrapped in conspiracy and nothing tickles curiosity like mystery. So we hide our most important lies underneath the more tolerable one. That the Manhattan Project is a research and development program tasked with building and deploying the world's first atomic bomb. I assure you, Dr. Oppenheimer, the truth is, we are working on much more interesting things." And then you kind of get all this crazy sci-fi shit where, like, there's just, like, Einstein's in a room looking at a monolith that looks straight out of 2001, and then suddenly the Manhattan Project is attacked by, a red Torgi, no doubt Zen-powered by death Buddhists. I can't believe they built a damned gateway. So what you got here is like this weird fucking, and then like they're attacked by an army of robot samurai, and I'm sure there are people out there that like love this kind of shit. I don't. The Manhattan Project is probably the scariest shit that's ever happened in human history. No, definitely is. The idea that you need to make up anything to make it interesting, and I'm not saying that's what Hickman's trying to do, but the idea that like, just the notion, I'm not saying he's trying to like to put this out as this is what it was actually about. No, of course not. I mean, just the real history is fucking fascinating. The idea of doing a fake version of it, the idea of doing like this crazy, action-packed, kooky sci-fi version of it is just wholly uninteresting, because I promise you are not going to make up anything more interesting than what actually happened. Maybe less horrifying, but definitely not more interesting. And so I just, the whole premise of this is something I just don't have much tolerance for, honestly. And I mean, I don't know, there's stuff in here I definitely should love, like a Nazi scientist, the Nazi rocket scientist that got Americans to the moon because Americans are cowards, because Operation Paperclip has like a robot arm, and yeah, that's cool and all, but no, I just don't care. There are scenes in here that I like, but I just, like, they're definitely well written, they're definitely thought out in a cool way, but it's just, I know a lot of the history behind this stuff, so scenes like this are just not as good to me. So apparently Albert Einstein just stares at this monolith night and day. And Feynman walks in and says, "Bad news, doctor. You're needed in the main lab. I'm busy." "No, you're sitting there staring at your monolith, which is the same thing you do every day, except when one of us insists you help with something else. You're the opposite of busy, and we need help with the bomb." So far, we've come up with functional designs for two possible delivery systems: a simpler gun-type fission bomb and a more complex implosion-type nuclear weapon. The problem we need your help with, is there's no consensus on which design to use. We're at an impasse. We need to regain the project's forward motion. And just build both. What did you say, Doctor? I said, then just build both. Yeah, that's a pretty good scene. I can't lie, like, that is very compelling, and I do like it. It kind of shows the impassiveness. It gives you a great sense of Einstein's character in this, and I mean, it's not entirely unlike Einstein in real life. It's just, again, I'm so much more interested in the actual history of Feynman at the fucking Manhattan Project stealing people's notes as a joke. Like, did you know that? Did you know that Richard Feynman, genius, worked on the Manhattan Project and got bored and would steal people's notes and information and work on the project and hide it for fun? Government loved that. So, yeah, I don't know, stuff like this, I'm just like, yeah, it's whatever. FDR dies, and they put his brain into a giant computer. There's this weird-ass scene with Truman, as soon as he takes off, is being briefed on the Manhattan Project, and they really start to fuck with things here. Being briefed on the Manhattan Project as they're going to drop the bomb, like as the Enola Gay is flying to drop the bomb. And they're asking, "All right, President, the decision needs to be made right now. You got about 2 minutes. Do you want us to drop the bomb or not?" And Truman looks over his nose like, wait, tell me about this place. Tell me what's going on. And they lie. And Truman says, "No, don't do it. Don't drop the bomb." The general pretends not to hear him and all this stuff, and they drop the bomb anyway. Which, no lie, that's an interesting fictionalization of things, and it's definitely compelling and scary, and has all kinds of implications of what the Manhattan Project actually is and all this stuff. After Hiroshima, at the urging General Groves and Director Oppenheimer, the FDR artificial intelligence established a shadow government of the United States. Like, stuff like that, it's kooky and crazy and fun conspiracy theory stuff, but the actual history of Truman's decision to drop the bomb is way more fucked. Like, I can't believe I'm saying that. The actual history of Truman's decision to drop the bomb is more fucked than a rogue general pretending not to hear him give the order not to do it over the phone and drop it anyway at the behest of FDR's artificial intelligence and in lieu of establishing a shadow government in the United States. No. The actual history is more interesting. What is the actual history? And, well, to give the brief version of it, Truman was lied to and was told that Hiroshima and Nagasaki were completely military targets. You can go back and read Truman's diaries, and he would remark on them that history would look kindly upon him for choosing to use such a devastating weapon in such a precise way to only impact the Japanese war machine and not on a civilian population, even though the war had escalated to such a point of total war so that civilians were fair game too. And he was under this opinion because he'd asked his generals for a list of targets, and they gave him Hiroshima and Nagasaki and told him that they were military-only targets. Which is, I mean, it's not untrue. They definitely had military functions to the same degree that any city in Japan in the war had military functions. It's a small fucking island with few cities at the time, relatively speaking. They had to use their resources anywhere they could. The U.S. military deceived the President of the United States because they were giddy and excited to use the bomb against the Japanese. That's more scary, more terrifying, and damn sure more interesting than Truman on the phone with some general who just decides to do it. And so I read stuff like this, I'm like, yeah, I can kind of see what the appeal is, but it doesn't work for me at all. They meet with aliens. It does not go well. Einstein's attacked by a parallel universe version of himself. Oppenheimer eats an alien alive. They attack a civilization of aliens, killing literally all of them. I'm sure I've read Hickman's other sci-fi stuff. He definitely thinks about this stuff a lot and tries to come up with really inventive and clever shit. And it's just never as interesting as I want it to be. Like, I like Red Wing to some degree, but it's not like blow me away or anything. This, I'm just like, the real history is more interesting anyway. It's kind of what I'm left with. I don't think that it's bad. I think it's perfectly well written for what it's trying to do. But I kind of hate it. That's all I got. Everyone, thank you very much for watching this episode of Trade Talk. If you love this book, good for you. I don't. Until next time. Bye.
That's not a comic book. Now that's a comic book.